This is a to-the-point video. It is a condensed version of the full review. I will not answer questions in the comments section for this video. Please watch the full review if you want detailed information, and that video will be linked in the description section below. The iBasso SR2 is a $550 headphone from a company that is not known for headphones. This is the second iteration of iBasso's limited headphone line. The SR2 is a premium headphone in a lot of respects. It is made of metal and leather. I could not find any visible plastic components. The style is simple, modern, and unpretentious. The ear cups are metal, connected to the headband with metal yokes, and provide sufficient movement for a contoured fit. The headband is two thin pieces of metal. This design is not particularly sturdy, and the ear cups tend to wobble a little. While I do not think this is an immediate concern, I suggest using care with this headphone. The ear pads are soft, supple, and comfortable. They sit around my ears, but the top of my ears do get bent from time to time. The clamping force is about average. In other words, you will feel the headphone pressing on the sides of your face, but it should not be uncomfortable. The SR2 comes with good accessories. You get a sturdy case, a premium cable, and spare ear pads. The SR2's sound signature is a hybrid, the first of its kind that I have heard so far. The marketing says that this headphone is analytical and that it is natural sounding. In my mind, these two concepts are not the same. But after repeated tests, I have to say that the SR2 embodies attributes of both categories while not being completely either. The SR2 has a sub-bass roll-off. It is a noticeable departure when compared to typical dynamic drivers such as the audeze S4X. However, the SR2 has more sub-bass presence than planar magnetic headphones. Mid-bass is close to neutral. There is good separation between sub-bass and mid-bass and above-average clarity in this region. The SR2 never exhibited bass distortion during my tests. The mids are forward. Vocals are closer to the ears. Sibilance and vocal grain is emphasized, but not harsh or piercing. The Avantone planar is neutral, and when compared to the SR2, there is an immediate difference in this regard. The difference is less obvious when we compare the SR2 against the audeze S4X. Both the SR2 and the S4X have a similar sibilance emphasis. Separation of elements in a mix is above average, and mid-centric instruments are clear and distinct on the SR2. Timbre also seems to be correct. Treble is a bit accentuated. There is above average clarity in this region. Brass and horns receive a noticeable but not harsh emphasis. Instruments sound precise and nothing is veiled or muffled. The Avantone planar is obviously more neutral than the SR2. The audeze S4X has a smidge less treble emphasis than the SR2. Detail retrieval from the SR2 is above average. It easily rivals the hifi Mansundara, Avantone planar, and the DT1990. The SR2 is able to reproduce both obvious and subtle details. Sounds are crisp. Soundstage is also above average. The SR2 sounds wider than the HD6XX and is as wide as the Austrian Audio HiX65 and the Avantone planar. However, the Sundara has a bit more soundstage. I compared the SR2 against the Sundara, LCD2 Classic, DT1990, and the HiX65. If you want to know how these headphones performed, I suggest you watch the full review. What was evident from my comparisons is that all of these headphones sound different from each other. The SR2 sounded most like the DT1990, but there were clear differences as well. In summary, the SR2 had more sub-bass than all of these competitor headphones. The SR2 had overall more clarity except when compared to the X65. The SR2's sibilance and vocal grain was not the most emphasized. In fact, it was a give and take. Some of these headphones emphasize vocal grain considerably more, while others emphasize sibilance more. This was an interesting experience. It is seldom that I find a headphone that leaves me a bit baffled. I can typically describe the sound signature, and if all else fails, the catch-all category of balanced is an easy cop-out. But the SR2 is not balanced sounding. When compared to balanced sounding headphones, the SR2 doesn't actually fall into that category. The SR2 is not truly analytical either. For example, it does not chop details and spoon feed you like the Austrian Audio headphones or the HD800S. The SR2 is also not neutral or warm sounding. But The SR2 has attributes of a balanced or natural sounding headphone mixed with a dose of analytical seasoning. Vocals are intimate, close to the ears. While sibilance and grain are elevated, they are not harsh. And even though there's a sub-bass roll-off, mid-bass seems to be close to neutral. Drums have impact and sharpness without being piercing. Treble is accentuated, but again, not harsh. When you take a step back and look at the SR2, you see a headphone that provides natural timbre and decay, close vocals, but also a considerable amount of clarity and detail. At $550, iBasso has to make a strong argument for the SR2. I think they succeeded. iBasso could have dropped the ball in a number of ways with the SR2, but they didn't. The SR2 is well packaged with premium accessories. In fact, it has better accessories than what audeze, ZMF, Hi-Fi Man, and Sennheiser offer with their $1,000 or higher headphones. The SR2 has a unique sound signature. It will likely not please everybody, but it also isn't the rinse and repeat of many other brands. While the SR2 is not the king of the hill in any category, it is certainly well above the majority of the crowd. While I try to recommend lower-priced options, and I am hypercritical of expensive gear, the SR2 does not warrant any particular criticisms. There is no objective reason why the $550 price tag is ultimately wrong. This might be more than you're willing to pay, but that's your choice. Ultimately, I do recommend the SR2. For those looking for something different, you may want to give this headphone a closer look.